Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Chris, and I'm a product research engineer here at NVIDIA. And today we're going to talk about NeMo Evaluator. More specifically, we're going to talk about how we can quickly get started with NeMo Evaluator by using Docker Compose. So what is NeMo Evaluator? It is a microservice that simplifies the end-to-end evaluation of Gen AI, like LLMs, RAG, retrieval-augmented generation, and agents with an easy-to-use API. However, for the Docker version, we're going to focus on LLM-as-a-judge capabilities, custom LLM-as-a-judge, which is going to help us to determine how well our AI system is doing when we look to evaluate its performance. The following setup is best used for local development and testing, so let's just get right into it. First things first, we're going to go ahead and need to grab a API key from build.nvidia.com, which you can grab through your Manage API Keys widget after you've logged in to the website. Now we're going to go ahead and head to our terminal where we can do the rest of the flow. First thing we're going to do is export our API key, which we can do with the following command. Just make sure you substitute your actual API key. Once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and log into Docker. We can do that with the following command. Again, we're going to key into that NGC API key environment variable, which is why we do the export above. The next thing we want to do is make sure that we're in a directory that has our Docker Compose YAML and our init scripts. We can do this through the documentation, or we can use the live evaluation example on the generative AI examples repository. Links will be available in the description, so you don't have to go searching for those resources. The next thing we're going to do is specify what version we want for our actual microservices. In this case, we want 25.07 for both our evaluator microservice as well as our data store microservice. Additionally, we're going to do some bookkeeping to make sure that we're ready to run Docker correctly. And that's it. In the directory with our Docker Compose file, we can simply run the Docker Compose command, and it's going to spin up our microservices. Again, we don't need to pause here and wait for extended time periods while this system spins up. We actually are able to see it before our eyes, right? So this is very quick and very suitable for local development. Now that we have this microservice spun up, let's go ahead and look at how we may evaluate this, using this microservice that we just spun up. So in the following notebook, we're actually going to leverage the work that we just did in order to do a live evaluation. We're going to do two types of evaluation. The first is a simple string check, which is just to demonstrate that it works quickly. And the second is custom LLM-as-a-judge on some synthetically created medical summaries as well as consultations. We're basically going to see, is the summary a correct record of the consultation? Right now, our live evaluation only supports the custom evaluation type. So let's keep that in mind while we go through the notebook. The first thing we need to do, we've already done, which is just set up some necessary configurations. This is all the steps we've already done to set this up so we can begin using NeMo Evaluator. Next, we're going to actually use the Python SDK for NeMo microservices instead of needing to submit complicated curl commands or use the requests library. We can use the NeMo microservices client to do this for us. By default, Evaluator is going to be spun up at this endpoint when we work through the Docker flow, and that's why you see this here. Next up, we're actually going to do some simple string parsing. And the way we do this is by setting up this evaluation job. You can see that we use our client.evaluation.live, we pass in a config, we pass in a target, and we're good to see the evaluation. You can see that this runs rather quickly because, after all, it is just a simple string check. And so what is the actual evaluation here? Well, we're taking the custom type, which is what Live is compatible with. We're creating a new task called QA of type data, and we're asking for a metric called accuracy, which is going to be a string check. It's going to check that some output, which is a templated field, contains some expected templated field. In our target, we're going to use the type rows. So this is rows of data, JSON-L rows more specifically. And in our rows definition, you can see that we have some output, some input, and expected. Notice that yes and yes are the same, so we get a total score of 1 on our evaluation because, of course, yes contains yes. So let's look at a more complex example to see what we can do. In this example, we're going to use Llama Nemotron Super 49BV1, and this is going to be powered through build.nvidia.com. We already have our API key for this, so we don't need to provide it additionally. We can just use the same one we use to log into NVCR. And then you can see that we set up our model target. This is the judge model, and we just pass in the information directly from build.nvidia.com, as well as our API key. We also need to set up a correctness prompt. This prompt is going to be what the judge uses to determine whether or not, what our metric is. In this case, we're looking for just if it correctly reflects the consultation, and we're going to give this a score from 0 to 4, where 0 is the worst and 4 is the best. And you'll notice that we're very explicit about what our output format should be, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But again, we can reference content directly from our rows that we pass in for our live evaluation. Finally, we're going to set up a config and a target. For our config, we're going to use the type custom because that's what's compatible. We're going to create a task called correctness of type data. And for our metric, we're going to use correctness Likert. This is going to be an LLM-judge metric, and it's going to point to our judge model. The template we're going to use is as follows. We're going to have a system prompt with detailed thinking off, since this is a Llama Nemotron model for reasoning. And then we're also going to use a user prompt, which contains the instructions we saw above. Now, the reason we have to be explicit about our output format is because we are going to use regex to parse the score in order to get the value for this score. So this is important. We want to make sure we're able to extract the score, and so that's why we have to be explicit when defining our actual output format for our judge prompt. Then we're going to provide a bunch of rows. These rows are just going to contain content, which is a consultation, and summary, which is a summary of that consultation. You'll see in this instance, we're providing 5 unique rows, and we can go ahead and once again just click play, and it's going to go ahead and evaluate live right in front of us for a total score of 2.8, which is not amazing, right? This is out of 4, but still a decent enough job. This is how you use the Docker deployment for live evaluation using NeMo Evaluator. If you want to learn more, you can check out the links to documentation and other resources in the description below. Thanks so much for your time. I've been Chris, and we'll see you in the next one.